Hello, it is Hera, and welcome to Healthy and Happy with Hera to discover the bright side of life. This episode is dedicated to our everyday heroes, to all the nurses and midwives in the world, in recognition to their valuable contribution and to celebrate the International Year of the Nurse and Midwife. Let's have a look at the following video and then you will learn more about them.
We've been making a film for International Nurses Day to recognise the incredible work of nurses and midwives.
We all have things to be thankful for.
I'm thankful to the nurses who took care of my wife when she was seriously ill in hospital last year.
I'm thankful that nurses and midwives are helping us make progress towards health for all throughout the world.
I'm thankful for the midwives we had when our children were born.
2020 is the International Year of the Nurse and the Midwife.
Currently, the world faces a shortfall of 9 million nurses and midwives.
Millions of people around the world rely on nurses.
There was so much more that could have been said. I was going to talk about how nurses saved my life, twice. But then the COVID-19 pandemic happened and made it impossible for us to continue filming. Now, the message is clearer than ever. We need nurses and midwives now and in the future to ensure access to health for everyone, everywhere. International Nurses Day is the perfect opportunity to say a huge thank you to all the nurses and midwives around the world who work tirelessly, often without thanks, to keep us all safe. It is vital that governments equip nurses and midwives with leadership skills so they can lead and inspire the next generation to save lives. Share your own story and let's say a huge thank you to nurses and midwives around the world.
Do you also consider the nurses and midwives our everyday heroes? Today, we will learn everything about the challenges of the profession, but also the rewards. I am delighted to have with me today Ch.Tsounis, who is a registered nurse, and also he is working at the moment as the Divisional Head of Nursing in one of the leading healthcare providers in the UK. Christos, thank you so much for being here with us today.
It's my pleasure, and I want to thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here as well. So we will discuss a lot for nurses, and I think that now more than ever, the audience and the whole nation is focused on healthcare professionals. But before we continue, it's worth mentioning also that recently we celebrated, apart from the year of the nursing midwife, it was also the International Day of Nursing. So why is this profession so important for our society? Why do we highlight it so much? Let's have a look at the following video, and then you will learn more about Christos and the nursing profession.
Today is International Nurses Day, a time to celebrate nurses who are the backbone of every health system, whether it's performing essential services or responding to a crisis. We celebrate them today, but we depend on them every day. Nurses are on the front lines of the COVID-19 response, from community clinics to intensive care units in hospitals. Today, we must take time to honor the nurses and all health workers who have lost their lives during the COVID-19 pandemic. Earlier this year, we launched WHO's first State of the World's Nursing Report.
So, Christo, you have worked a lot of years as a registered nurse in Greece and now in the UK the latest years, and you have had a remarkable career path. I want us to get to know you a bit better and to learn a bit more about your life story.
Oh, my life story, pretty much.
As briefly as you can, because I'm sure that it's very long.
As you mentioned, I am Greek, so I've studied back in Greece in University of Athens. I finished my nursing degree in 2000, and then in Greece, I just had to serve my duty in the army. After that, I've started my career in a private hospital in Athens, and then I carried on with a different decision to leave Athens, beautiful Athens, and go to another town just outside Athens in Chalkida, where I worked in the Greek NHS, the National Health System, in A&E. So my background, my love, my unconditioned affection is towards A&E. I've always considered myself to be an emergency nurse and acute nurse. And following really, really long service in NHS in Greece, we made a decision with the family and my wife that it was time for us to pursue something different and just try and get something completely different. So we moved to the UK, came here, and again, initially I started with my love going to A&E, and in the time that I worked in A&E in UK, I completed my master's degree in Athens and in management, in healthcare management, which gave me the opportunity to get everything I needed in my backpack to start and pursue a different career within the nursing profession, and that was in management. So now, as you said, after working in the British and the UK NHS and private health system, I've been honoured by appointed in the position of a Divisional Head of Nursing.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So I will ask you a lot of things about you later on, because I find important and nice mindset. So all of us can learn many things about it. But you mentioned that E&E is your love. Why do you love it so much? Because I know for a fact that it's a really, really challenging place to work. The admissions are so high. Like, I know for a fact that people run the whole time, but obviously they save lives as well. Why is your love?
It comes from my internal need to help people as much as I can. So, as you know, nursing has many, many different phases, and the year 2020, the International Year of the Nurse 2020, it was meant to be in UK all about the secret nurses. The secret nurses that they've been not in a very known positions, but on the other hand, it was about all the nurses. So nursing in A&E, for me, has a special place in my heart, because the pace, the adrenaline, and most of all is about the team. The bond that has been created between the people that they work in A&E is amazing. Even though I haven't been to work with my team in the local hospital where I used to work for 3.5 years here in UK, we still remain friends. So we're still going to call each other, and we're still going to be sharing our news and share the bitter and the sweet taste of life. So it's always going to be about the team and that bond that creates the pressure of the work.
So it was my next question, but I think that you answered it partially maybe. What is the thing that bonds that team so much, or what is that bonds maybe healthcare professional in general so much when they work in such challenging environments?
I think it's most of all is the fact that we all facing the same challenges and the same issues, and we have to work as a team. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Nursing is not about individuals that work by themselves, individual units. You have to renounce your individuality and commit to the team. Otherwise, you cannot move forward, as you know. So being part of the team, especially the A&E team and the nursing team, is a great privilege. And the guys that we work together, we always consider to be a family. The A&E family, the family that we have in my current place of work, it's the second family for us. We see each other for so many hours, and we spend so much time together that it's like we want to do it, we want to connect, and we want to reach out to a more personal level.
Thank you. So what does a nurse mean for you? What do you want to represent as a nurse?
It's about offering, it's about giving. It's about that that need we all have to offer ourselves and our services to our patients, to make ourselves better every day, to strive to get the best out of every situation, and compromising nothing but the best. So it's all about trying to more every day, try to get more, try to give more to our patients each and every day.
So is this also the reason why maybe someone chooses nursing?
Oh, definitely. We're not doing it for the money. All the nurses know that by now that it's not about money. We all know that the nurses are facing one of the most hard environments to work with, and we're facing with not a great salary, we have to say, but we're always going to try and do our best regardless of what the financial compensation is for what we do. We always going to strive for the best, and we have our uniform, and we try to get everything off ourselves when we put the uniform on, regardless of where we are. We just go there and we help our patients, we help our colleagues, and we support each other.
Someone that may be considering to become a nurse, what would you advise them? What would you say that they should have in mind before choosing this profession?
Where do I begin? First of all, don't do it if you don't like it. Don't do it if you don't like the smile of the face of your patient when they receive your care, your unconditional love towards them. Don't do it if you're not willing to sacrifice your nights and your sleep. After a long night shift, we're all going to go back and we're going to start thinking, have I done everything correctly? And there's nothing more rewarding when you go to sleep and you say, yes, I've helped everyone with the best way that I can. And don't do it if you don't like working as a team. As I said, it's not about you, it's about the team and how the team is providing the care that we all supposed to do, and we're supposed to do.
We saw also in our video the support that healthcare professionals, including nurses, are receiving from the community and the whole nation. So every week, people still keep clapping healthcare professionals. I know that many companies are trying to also offer their help, so maybe try to offer whatever they can to healthcare professionals, maybe snacks, whatever they can. And I think that more than ever, as I said before, healthcare professionals are in the center of the society at the moment. How does that make someone that is a healthcare professional, that works in the NHS, feel? How does it make you feel, that support?
Humble and emotional, because even though you haven't seen all these people, you know that what we do every day somehow reaches them, somehow touches them, and touches a really, really good part of them as it touches the very best of us. It's our soul that's been touched, and I feel so emotional every time I walk by and go to work, go to hospital every day, and I've seen in the backyards people having a sign, we love NHS and we love nurses, thank you for what you do. So it's always amazing, it's always so much rewarding. As I said, nursing is not about money, but it's that wonderful feeling that you help someone. And now the society is just saying thank you. So I can always, I can only stay humble in front of everyone and say, you're welcome. It's our pleasure. This is why we do that.
Exactly. And really, like, I feel every time like goosebumps every time that this happens. And as you said as well, roads are filled with support for NHS. As you said, like windows, a lot of rainbows, a lot of drawings in the road. Like, it's amazing. So we almost touched that part, but what do you think that is the greatest reward that someone can have from this profession? Obviously, you mentioned some things, but is there anything else that you would like to complete that answer?
No, actually, it's everything that we discussed already, and it's that question moment when a patient is going to look into your eyes and is going to say with all their heart, "Thank you." That's it. I think this is the most rewarding thing ever. So we both know that sometimes we're going to see things that are really, really hard, and I know that our colleagues now, they've been facing amazing courage and amazing stamina, all this horrible thing that is happening. And we have to stay strong, and we have to stay together, and we have to support each other.
And actually, we are saving people. We have to do with people's lives, and this is what makes it challenging, because, for example, if you're a company, maybe during a difficult time, you can say, okay, we reduce production, we take these measures to mitigate what's happening. In healthcare profession, it's the opposite. Like, you cannot stop. Then it's the time that they will need you the most, and then it's the time that you will be challenged, that maybe you will be stretched because you have to face the situation quickly. So generally speaking, not only for now, but generally speaking now and regarding the profession of a nurse, what are the challenges that someone faces?
Challenges, the long hours that we work, they're very, very demanding, and we have to be aware that every time we go to work, we leave a small part of ourselves there. So for me, the most challenging thing is to switch off. So we see, especially this time and this particular instance, we all need to find some ways to switch off from what's happening everywhere else, so we can keep ourselves together, and we can just recharge our batteries, so we can do it for another 12.5-hour shift, for another day. The other bit I found really, really challenging is to keep up and close your ears to everything that you hear outside this world. So I'm don't going to go into fake news and everything else, but just staying professional at all times. It's always a big challenge for us. Being a nurse is always being professional and always adhere to the code of conduct. So we have to be absolutely professional no matter what's happening outside. And this is a bit challenging when we know that each and every professional has their own character, but for nursing, that doesn't mean that your character needs to be put away. The only thing we have to do is just find the golden pathway where we keep our professionalism and our personal character in such a balance that we're going to help our patients. Physically, it's not an easy job also. So definitely we've been through difficult situations, especially in A&E, when you have to manage patients that the demand is high. But again, finding the golden pathway where you help anyone without putting yourself into danger, I think that's the biggest challenge that we have, especially now, especially with the coronavirus and the COVID-19 crisis. We have to be mindful that keeping ourselves safe That means that we're going to keep our patients safe and we're going to offer more.
After a 12-hour shift, how do you feel? Physically, how do you feel? Are you able to walk in the next day? Because what I know for sure is that you walk so many miles during those 12 hours, back and forth, every department, every ward for all of the patients, that really your body is like really difficult. Like the next day, if you have to work again, to say, okay, I'm going again to work. How is that feeling for you when you work so many hours?
It's not an easy thing to do, and especially when we know that the body is producing so many chemical responses, so the cortisol levels and the adrenaline levels that you have, when you reach home, you cannot fall asleep. So it's a reality, and that's why I said it previously, that we have to find some ways to switch off. So you feel drained, you feel worried. Have I done everything correct? Have I missed something? So that's the biggest argument that we, the nurses have. Have I signed that document? Have I given that medication off? So it's always going to be trying to get your worries and your concern in such a way that you're going to say, yes, I've done everything correctly. It's time for me now to switch off.
Regarding that, how much does it influences your everyday life? Or maybe how do you try also to keep the balance with your personal life, and that being difficult to switch off, maybe being difficult to sleep afterwards, maybe in the morning, like not having slept enough? How much does that influence your life, or how do you try to keep that balance in order to mitigate that?
How do we do that? First of all, you go back and you look onto your battery recharges, which is always going to be the smile of my kids and the face of my wife. So it's family and the way that we connect to each other. That's the most rewarding thing ever. So we all know that families are always going to have issues. We're always going to know that we're going to have small or big ones. So the biggest issue we may be is who's going to play first on the Xbox. So these kind of things. But you cannot imagine how easy for me it is to say, oh, I like this kind of trouble. It makes me more.
It distracts you.
So I'm so happy that I have to deal with this kind of issues and recharge my battery and stop the boys from fighting with each other, which is amazing, yes. And then we have to go for a walk and get the kids over to scouts and everything else. So it's always going to be, family is going to be the safest port for all of us, somewhere that we can just blow down our anchor and just step off the boat and go for evening. That's pretty much everything.
And at the end of the day, you also know that you're trying to save lives, which is the greatest thing you can do. So, as we heard, the nursing job is challenging, but also rewarding. Let's also have a look at the following video where more nurses talk about their feelings and the situation and why did they choose to become a nurse.
Let's do that.
We have taken on another role, family member and friend. We do our best every day to provide for each of our patients based on their needs.
I just want you to tell my wife that I love her and I hope she's okay. And my intern and I walked out of the room and cried outside of.
I feel like I have no one to talk to if there's something similar, and I don't want to stress the village anymore. So you cry in the Uber on the way home or in the bathroom to yourself. I love my job. I love being a nurse. And now more than ever, we need to come together because we're quite literally fighting for people's lives and for our own lives.
I've always wanted to be a nurse. Since I was like 5 years old, I wanted to be a nurse. I always wanted to help people.
I want to care for people.
I just kind of wanted to do something like that every day that I could share that happiness.
I know how it feels to be on the other side.
I saw how the nurses took care of my dad.
It was always the nurse that you remembered.
I feel like everyone knows a nurse.
My mother's a nurse.
I shadowed a nurse one day, and after about an hour, I thought, this is what I want to do. And I immediately applied to school.
I went to work as a nurse's aide, and I absolutely loved it.
Met my first patient and their family. I said, yep, I'm hooked.
The best field to always have an opportunity to care for people, it's nursing.
I feel like I'm fulfilling that every day. Just make a difference, even just a little bit.
This is a lifetime calling.
So we saw the challenges and the rewards, of course, and this is what keeps nurses going. According to the World Health Organization, there is a shortage of 6 million nurses worldwide. What does that mean in practice for the hospitals? So not having enough nurses as we should have in order to take care of the patients. What does it mean in reality? How much does it make it even more challenging, the profession?
Difficult, and on the other hand, challenging. Challenging the fact that we don't have nurses growing on trees, unfortunately. So we have to do something. We have to invest on how we can train nurses and how we're going to recruit people to join the profession. And the governments need to play a really, really vital role in this and give the nurses the assurances they need. Start with small things like financial, but also just make sure that the profession is going to stay in a high prestige area or high prestige position in the healthcare profession. What it also makes a difference is the fact that everything is changing, and the healthcare professionals have to change also, especially in the way that we provide care. So regardless if you're a registered or unregistered nurse, regardless if you have a degree or if you have a diploma on nursing, the fact is that we have to make sure that we all understand how do we deliver the care in our patients, especially what's happening now in UK, what we see in UK, that the nursing profession is changing. And over the last 10 years now, been massive changes. 7 years ago, we couldn't even imagine nurses doing exactly what they do in UK now. And the UK is a lead on this sector, and the fact that the nurses have so many duties, so many things that have been accredited, and the nurses are going to university, learn about them, and become experts, and then they deliver the care. But also, what is amazing is that the rest of the healthcare professionals are easier to understand what the nurses are doing every day, and they're so happy to see that the nurses are progressing so much. And educationally, yes, we do have now nurses in UK who are prescribers. We can prescribe medication without having to go to the doctors in order to get a prescription for the medication that the patients are receiving. So we do have individual and autonomous practitioners that they can work without supervision, which is always going to be amazing. And as I said, it's those kind of steps that we need to make sure that we're going to take as a profession in order to move forward and transform the way that we deliver the care. So how do we do it without nurses? We can, but we have to fight every single day to convince more in our profession that we need them and we need to get our teams more stronger. We need to work together, and we need to make sure that we're going to give them exactly what we promise: education, progression, career, and if that comes with a bit of money, yes, that's a little bit.
Obviously, depending on the country you are, but like many people may believe, okay, so you're a nurse, you're not a doctor, so really you cannot give so much advice on healthcare.
Sorry, I missed that part of your question. Yeah,
Sorry, yeah. So I was saying that a lot of people, especially depending on which country they live, because obviously sometimes nurses can have more liberty in doing things and sometimes less. But some people may think that, okay, so you're a nurse, you're not a doctor, so you cannot really give so much advice in healthcare profession or in healthcare issues. What do you think? What is the reality? Can a nurse give advice?
I think this is a very old school discussions that especially in UK, that's been put in the drawer forever. So history has proven that regardless which profession you are, you have to practice. You have to deliver the care that we all want. Bind with protocols. So if you have protocols and if you have a good governance systems around the quality of the care that you provide, regardless of which discipline you are on, you can provide the same care. So in UK, as you know, we got nurses that they can manage patients' diabetes. It's
the specialists.
So you've got specialist nurses. You've got specialist nurses which dealing with asthma. So you don't have to go to your doctors to regulate your inhalers. You've got your specialist nurse, and the specialist nurse is going to visit your home, and they're going to manage that. You don't have, if you have an arrhythmia, you don't have to see your doctor, your consultant every month. You've got an arrhythmia specialist. And the same with many other specialties. And this is why I say that when we have protocols, and we've got protocols for each and every profession, the best way to move forward is to make sure that we got a good governance system around those protocols, and then make the step forward, make the leap of faith, and get the professionals, different professions, to deliver those protocols. Many years ago, we had doctors that they would only do intramuscular injections. And now we've got students that do it, and you actually can you can not consider yourself to have an injection by a doctor anymore. It's considered to be one of the nurses' duties to perform. So what I want to say is that the only thing we have to do is just open our minds. And as we all know, minds and parachutes work better when they're open. So move forward, not stay behind in the past.
That's very nice thing that you said. And obviously, if you're a nurse, you need to be learning for your whole life because things change. So you cannot be behind in your knowledge. I want to focus a bit now more on you and on the decisions that you took to move to UK. So because you have a family, you have children, you were working in Greece, so you had a career path, and everything put into place, let's say, in Greece. So how did you take that difficult decision to move in UK? Or maybe what was the main reason that made you do that?
First of all, as I said, it was a joint decision that we made with my wife. It wasn't about, it was all about moving forward, taking the next step. and again, we've seen that, okay, so we've done our master's degree, we've got a degree in University of Athens, so what was the next step? The way that we wanted to see ourselves as professionals, we wanted to do something more. But that more that we wanted to do sometimes is you feel like you don't have the opportunities to do it, you don't have the means to do it. Things have changed in Greece, things have changed in the UK, but I think we've made the right choice. Having 3 kids and a family behind us at the same time, both of us working in nursing, it wasn't an easy thing to do. But on the other hand, it was a driving force for both of us, so there was no room for errors, no room for any mistakes. We had to move forward, made a decision, and we're going to fight our best to go through.
Mm-hmm. How challenging was that in the beginning, especially because, well, as almost everybody, when they move in a new country, they will start from scratch, from everything, like in your profession, like in your house, everything is from scratch. How challenging was that?
Extremely challenging, especially when you go to another country that you know nothing about the customs, nothing about the habits that people have, and you know nothing about the profession in general, but you always thinking about, looking back now, the basic knowledge of my profession was that. So I used to work in A&E, I used to be, I used to help people, I used to be a nurse, so that's what we both done, that's what I'd done. We just carried on being nurses. And regardless of the language and habits and everything else that we had to pick up slowly, it was all about the basic core of our profession, just being a nurse, regardless of what kind of language you're going to deliver the care that you're going to deliver, and regardless of which nationality you are. I think it was really, really rewarding. Also, coming into UK, it was massively, we had the support of an amazing network of people that they helped us for our first steps. And I'm not going to lie, it made a massive difference. The fact that we had someone who's going to help us go through houses and areas to look for, so that was amazing. But on the other hand, we all understand that challenges are there, and we just have to do it. It's a bit blur, you know what? It's a bit blur now. So after so many years, we want to go back and see how did we spend the first month that we were here? And we both now say, oh, we don't remember. It's just a good thing. It's a good thing.
But like on the other hand, I feel like compared to other people, obviously, that go in another country and then they may not have help at all, that we are lucky. I consider myself very lucky. And also the fact that you said that some people help you, yes, that makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So regarding the fact that now you moved to UK, was it anything that has impressed you regarding here compared to your previous experiences? And that can be anything, can be mindset, can be the way that the country is organized, can be anything. Was it something that you said, oh, I love this country because of this, because I find this really good, really impressive?
The respect of individuality, that gave me, that it was mind-blowing. So, and also in our profession, the governance and the quality assurances. So that's the mind-blowing for me, because we both know that learning in the university, in a university classroom about quality, and having to face the quality that and the assurances that we have here, and the governance around our profession is entirely different. So we were not used to that, but on the other hand, it feels a bit natural. Now that we are after so many years, it feels logical. And being also in a team and work in A&E teams here and back home in Greece, I was amazed that people are not so different after all.
Yeah, because the purpose is the same, right? The end goal is the same. How many years are you now in the UK? Approximately, you remember?
We're moving 7.5 years now.
Okay. So in those 7.5 years, you started from being a nurse and are reaching the point that you are now. Can you tell me a bit, is there any secret behind this? How do you succeed? How do you develop so fast? What is the secret, do you think, behind that?
There's no such thing as secret. It's the foundations of your professional. It's the foundations of your education. This is what matters for me. Being taught about nursing and everything that has to do with nursing, but from so many great people that I can name them each and every one in the university and after the university. The people that I know that we can call them teachers now. I think that was the big advantage that we all have. And being a nurse that studied in Greece and all the experiences that we had make us really, really good candidates for coming into UK and progressing. So I'm not going to lie, I feel privileged that my background has prepared me for this journey.
And obviously you have to be a person that pursues things, because it won't just come to you.
It's not about the person, it's about you have.
Okay, so looking back at your career until now, what is the sensation that nursing leaves you? So if you look back here from where you started till now, and you think, oh my God, like, yeah, this is my profession, this is my job. What is that sensation that it leaves in your mind? Maybe you haven't even thought about it.
Honest, if you're asking me if I would do it again, I would say yes. I would say yes. I cannot take my mind away from the people that we help every day, in, out, people that we help. And now I cannot take my mind away from the nurses that we have in our team, and the nurses that we all know them by face, by name, and we've got a second family, as I said. Yes, I would do it again.
I want us to close with that phrase because it's one that I think that really expresses you. And because we don't have more time as well, I want to thank you so much for being here today with us and sharing your opinion and made a bit more aware of people regarding the profession. What I want also to remind to people is that nurses are our everyday heroes, not only now during this pandemic, but every time, because the nursing job is challenging, is not risk-free. Even if you don't have a pandemic, it's not risk-free. But also, as we said, is rewarding. So I'm closing with that.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to discuss about our profession. And hopefully we're going to get more people in by looking up on our show. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Me too. Have a great time, everybody. See you again next
Stay
time.
safe.
Next week.
Thank you.
You too, everybody. Bye.